Hi, hello, and welcome to the new episode of the Boy Time Podcast. This time, we're going to be talking about RRR, a hit film from 2022. This is your first time seeing it, and that's why we did this podcast. I have seen this before, but I saw it when it came out, and then I have not seen it since then, and so I rewatched it. And you watched it for the first time, and we are here together to talk about the film. Now that I have explained the format of podcasts in general, let's talk about it. I don't know if there's like a whole lot of, there is a lot of like interesting kind of context things, but the thing is that I don't know if I know all of it. And I know for a fact that if I get something wrong, there's going to be 500 comments that are all going to be saying the same thing. But what I will say is that, like, as an American person, this is probably the only Bollywood movie I remember, like, breaking into the Western audience in a way that, like, I don't remember seeing from any other movie. I think it is the highest grossing Indian movie here in the States, which makes sense. There was quite a bit of hype and buzz around it when it came out. It was obviously nominated for Best Picture, and even had a performance at the Oscars where they did the something knocked. I should have looked up the name of that dance, the suspender dance. They did that live on stage. So had a lot of Western buzz. I watched it when I came out, and I loved it, but it was one that you missed, probably because it's over 3 hours long, and unless it's The Brutalist for some reason, you don't tend to watch movies that are over 2 hours.
I didn't even like that movie. I was dragged to that movie. I can explain.
All I'm saying is that you don't tend to watch long movies. And I don't really either, but Indian movies are always different, because I have watched quite a few. But before we talk about a movie, I think we need to talk about our credibility as two white guys talking about an Indian film. What other Bollywood movies have you seen, if any?
The famous one by the same guy, Bahubali. That's it.
Just the first one, not the second one?
I don't think I've watched the ending, because they're both insanely long.
They are both insanely long. I think if you add them up, it's over 6 hours.
Yeah.
And I
Which
did
you
watch
do Lord of the Rings with your boys. You could do Bahubali with the boys as well. Just haven't gotten there yet.
You could do that. I don't know if I would recommend it. I will say I'm in the minority. I don't love Bahubali. I think it's like of the Bollywood movies that I have seen, it's my least favorite. And I have seen both. And I will say that the second part does a lot to redeem the first part, because I was not really a fan of the first part of Bahubali. That's the movie that has the famous shield throwing, where they make a shield wall and launch themselves with via tree over the walls, which is pretty awesome.
It is cool.
And there's a lot of fun action in the second one alongside that. But so you've just seen the first Bahubali. That's it.
I think so.
Okay, interesting. That we might need to change that, because as I was watching this, I'm like, man, I need to rewatch some of the ones that I've seen, because it's been so long. But also, I would also implore any of our Indian viewers, please drop some comments. I'm looking for recommendations, because I've seen both Bahubalis. I've seen Lagan and Three Idiots and RRR. And Lagan and Three Idiots are fantastic, amazing even. One is a sports movie about cricket, and the other one is a fun buddy comedy. So you get a wide range. But aside from that, I haven't seen any either, but I love them. They're a lot of fun. And I think that's probably going to be the majority of our conversation here, is how much fun did we have with RRR? Because I'm assuming that you also had a good time. But I guess I shouldn't make assumptions.
You know me well enough where you know this is going to be a slam dunk. So
slam dunk.
I had a whale of a time, as we say.
We do say that. We are known for saying whale of a time.
It's true.
But you broke this up into segments, is that right?
Yeah, I think we watched it across like 4 different nights, just as like a periodic 45 minutes and then just like kind of let it go, which
Sure.
honestly, it kind of works that way because there's a lot of different segments and things and plots that happen throughout it. So I think it was actually good because then we kind of like gave it a couple days break and I'm like, okay, we just got this really insane scene
Mhm.
setting up the last part of the movie. So now I'm super hyped to get into it again, which is
Nice.
really cool. So yeah, it was over like 3 or 4 nights.
I think that's fair. I know that there are some like purists out there, not necessarily about Bollywood movies, but
Mhm.
like just film bros, maybe in general, just being like, you have to watch it all in one sitting. I'm of the opinion that that's probably the best way to experience a movie, but also
Mhm.
with movies that are this long, like we're busy and
Yeah. The way
sometimes you,
this is structured, it works. Like if
right,
I was going to watch a Tarkovsky and split it into 4 things, I'd have to rewatch the entire movie every time.
right. Yeah, exactly. But for something like this,
Hmm.
it's an action epic, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And there's lots of like twists and turns, which are always fun to see. But you enjoyed the film. I enjoyed the
Hmm.
film. I watched it in one day. I was back home in Des Moines this last weekend, and I watched it with my dad because my dad, for some reason, has a deep love for Indian movies.
Okay.
Don't ask me why. He's kind of a he has like the weirdest taste possible. Where like he listens to Celtic women almost exclusively,
Mm-hmm.
and then he loves Indian movies and like really old TV from like the 50s and 60s.
That's distinguished.
Yeah, he doesn't
That's, yeah.
he doesn't really go too far out of his comfort zone, but it's weird that his comfort
It's a
zone is
weird comfort
Bollywood.
zone.
As someone who's not Indian,
Hmm.
and well, he did used to work. He works at Wells Fargo, and he used to work with the people over in India. So I think that they gave him like recommendations where it's like, oh, I
Hmm.
think you'd. I think that's actually how I found out about Three Idiots. Is that someone recommended that to my dad, and then
Hmm.
he watched it and recommended it to me. So I watched it with my dad, but my mom was also working from her laptop, and I thought it was funny because we watched the whole thing, and then when we finished, my mom was like, "Why? That doesn't sound like it would be fun." I couldn't figure out what was going on, which I thought was a funny comment considering that the whole movie's in. Well, we watched the Hindi dub
Hmm.
because, and this is big drama, I couldn't find the Tamil version, if
I
that's how
couldn't
you
either.
pronounce it. So,
Yeah.
so it was weird. They took the original dub off of Netflix in the U.S. It
At least US. Yeah. I'm
seems
not
like a weird
sure.
thing.
Hmm.
I tried to like go through the audio language settings and see if I could change it, but the only thing you could change was subtitles. So
Yeah.
stuck with the Hindi dub, unfortunately. Their lips didn't exactly line up, but
Hmm.
didn't really make a huge deal for me because I was reading the subtitles anyways. It would be more of a problem
Yeah.
if I spoke the language.
Well, the crazy part is like because we had like the English dubs on for that version, and like the dubs were different than the actual subtitles.
Oh,
So we got 2 versions of a lot of different lines, which
hmm.
you would think is very weird, but the subtitles were very poetic compared to the way that the English translations actually came out. And I'm like, this is
Oh,
weird, but I
interesting.
kind of like it. I'm getting 2 different versions of what they're saying.
That is interesting. I did notice that, like especially during the like songs, and I'm
Hmm.
assuming that the songs remained the same. They didn't dub the
Yes.
songs. Okay,
No, they didn't dub the songs.
okay, but I noticed like in the montage scene where our two leads are like becoming friends, like all of the
Hmm.
lyrics are like super on the nose,
Yeah.
but it is like these are two friends and this might end in betrayal. I sure hope it doesn't end in betrayal. They are very nice friends right now, though.
Hmm.
But I really, really like that. It's just a fun way to view a movie. Uh, but yeah, I didn't watch the English dub. How was the English dub? The recordings of everything. Did it sound
It was
nice?
pretty solid actually. Like it sounded good. It wasn't too horrible at all. Like I think they kept the accents of the characters. It wasn't like
Oh, okay.
completely out of nowhere. So like it did still feel connected to the movie. It wasn't completely just like separated. I don't
Yeah,
think there was anybody in particular that was like, this is just weird. I'm thrown off by this.
sure. Well, I do have a question about that then, because in the movie, the
Oh,
like
yes.
British people already speak English. So
Yeah.
what do they do when like
So that was very confusing for
okay,
like 10 seconds because one of the characters was talking to the British lady,
uh
and there was this weird moment where like her face is like, I don't understand what you're saying. And I'm like, oh, he's talking in English because this is a dubbed version, but he's actually speaking in his language
yeah,
to the lady, and they can't understand each other. So that part was a little weird, but it was also kind of funny, so it was fine.
yeah, because there's a lot of scenes like that where it's like all
Yeah.
of the British people they all speak English.
Mhm.
The weird thing is that the Hindi dub didn't. Yeah, it's weird. The Hindi just dubbed over the Tamil and not the English.
Yeah.
So I don't. There's weird stuff.
Strange.
It's weird, but that's like it's the only way for us to watch it here in the States
Mhm.
legally. So uh, we're stuck with that. But I don't think that that took away from my experience. I think the first time I watched it was in Tamil, if that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. I know that that region way back in the day was like the Tamil Kings. I don't know if it's pronounced Tamil. I've heard
Mhm.
Tamil and Tamil. Sorry, I don't live there. But uh, yeah, yeah. What should we talk about with RRR? What was your favorite part, huh?
That's hard because this movie has so much insane stuff that just happens constantly. Um, I think the entire back half of the movie is just like absolutely flawless.
Mm,
Like, what happened? Like, we were just in this insane, like, buddy soulmate bromance insanity with like suspender dances and stuff, and then all of a sudden it just gets insane. And it's incredible. Like, there was multiple fight sequences where I'm like, this is your final fight scene of a movie typically,
yeah,
and it's just in the middle of the movie, and there's an entire hour 45 minutes after this moment. I think the movie justifies its length because like you really do form a feel for the main characters, and like
absolutely.
even though it spells everything out in the songs, like you're not prepared for like how insanely in depth you get with these two, and the backstories and their motives and everything is just like gorgeous to kind of watch it unfold. But like,
Yeah,
yeah, the beginning is very kind of, I don't know, it's striking in the beginning with the scene of Mali being taken, but then it like completely transitions to like la 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 la. We're like bromancing and doing all this fun stuff. It's a mixture of like the depravity of colonialism and just like hanging out with your bro doing bro stuff in the
yeah,
beginning, which was crazy. Um, but I think it's needed to get into the insanity that happens in the second half. And it like
absolutely.
completely ignites like the insanity of like, oh my God, plot twists that are just out of nowhere. So yeah, it's a roller coaster the entire time.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I think, man, just the opening of this movie is fantastic.
Mhm.
With like the little girl getting taken and then like transition into uh was it Ram or is it Raju? I don't really know the guy's name.
It's Raju, but they call him
Raju.
Ram in some sequences.
It's kind
I
of
think,
confusing because the guy's name is
yeah.
Ram, the actor's name
Mhm.
is Ram. So I'll just call him Ram.
Okay.
But you transition into Rom being like a colonial super cop who's like
Hmm.
beating up all
It's
these
like
Indians.
insane.
It's nuts. That's like what I love about these types of movies, though, is that like the action is so over the top.
Hmm.
Uh, it almost like in any other setting, it would feel like, oh, this doesn't work. Where it's
Right.
like sometimes like I watch like a horror movie and like the first half an hour or whatever is like super creepy atmospheric stuff. And then for like absolutely no reason, it turns into like an action slasher movie in the last 15 minutes. I'm like, why would you do that? You spent so much time setting up this tone. But they really throw that rule book out like
Yeah.
immediately.
Hmm.
It's like it starts off with that like the girl getting stolen thing. Like that is a completely like grounded real thing that could happen and
Hmm.
probably did. I mean, I don't know any like specific examples, but it checks for what the British would actually be doing at that time. Into like Superman cop, like within the
Hmm.
same like 20 minutes. And from then it completely spirals into all these different genres and tones, but at no point it feels like they're clashing. It's just
Right.
one like giant ride that is just a blast to get
Hmm.
through. And you feel like so attached to these characters, especially because you've been spending so much time with them. But also, I thought the chemistry was fantastic
Yes.
between Beam and Rom. Uh, Especially Beam. Beam is such a cutie. I want to
He
say
really
that
is.
every time, especially when he's with the white girl and he's just
Hmm.
like he's like vamping up his cuteness. I'm like, oh Beam, you're such a cutie. And then he gets lashed and tortured,
Yep.
which is my favorite part of the movie because it is like I don't, maybe favorite's not what I should say, but I think
Hmm.
it is like the best part where it is like it's obviously the turning point for Rom's character, but also like it's so like unironically kind of inspiring in a weird
Hmm.
way, because it is like this lynching thing. It's like a public execution. It's like supposed to be inciting, well, not inciting anything. It's just supposed to be like basically, hey, don't start any revolutions or anything because if you do, then we're going to treat you like this guy, which
Hmm.
again is a real thing that
Yep.
happened. But being able to twist that, uh, and like, I mean, there is like crucifixion kind of imagery when he's like getting pulled up by the rocks and then he has like his
Hmm.
arms stretched out. I don't know if that was intentional, but it does kind of like feel like that's kind of what they're going for with like he dies and then all the people like essentially fight for him like he's a martyr. Basically the entire thing like blowing up in the colonial
Hmm.
powers face, which is just awesome to see. And it's like it feels like such an earned end to Rom's arc
Hmm.
where it's like once we finally understand like why he's been a British super cop, it's like, oh, this is starting to make sense, like why he's been doing the things that he's been doing. But also, Beam kind of shows in that moment why it's kind of like wrong. Like he shouldn't have been doing this.
Hmm.
Because yes, like getting guns and something is tangible and will lead to actual change. But also like another big part of it, like you can get all the weapons that you want, but if you can't like rally around something, which is what Beam
Yep.
is doing, then those guns are essentially worthless.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just think it's like expertly done. It's probably the most effective scene in this movie, in my humble opine. Plus, it's just gnarly imagery. That whip is,
True.
oh my god.
Hmm.
Like Jesus Christ. Every time I'm like I remember there being like a barbed whip. But then
Hmm.
when he whips the pillar and then rips the splinters out, I'm like that is so gnarly and crazy. And I don't know if that, I mean maybe that's a real thing. Again, I wouldn't put it past the
Knowing the
British.
British,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's like half of the stuff in this movie, or like most of the stuff. I'm like, I don't know if this
Hmm.
is actually what happens, but knowing
It's the British.
yeah,
Like,
knowing
absolutely.
what I know about the
There's
British,
worse
yeah,
things than whatever they showed in that movie.
that's true.
Yeah, I think the absolutely insane part of this movie to me, and like this is just so devoid from any Western anything that we're ever like open and like able to go see on a mass scale like this, is like it is a completely unapologetically revolutionary stance in a movie
Yeah,
when it shows that like we try to be like violence is never the answer. This movie is like, no, violence is the answer, and you need a motive to free yourself from oppression.
yeah,
And we are not sugarcoating it in any way, but at the same time, we're doing a suspender dance and we're having this bromance arc throughout the entire movie, and
yeah,
all of it works, and it's insane because it's like we're used to superhero movies where it is the most individualistic. We have one superhuman person
Yeah.
with magical powers that can come save the day and save the civilians that we never learn about in those movies. They're just little NPCs walking around as they destroy cities. This is like they're taking like the mythology of certain Indian things and like embodying the people with that, to make fully fleshed out characters who we're laughing, we're crying, we're having all these different like range of human experiences to build our experience with them, and then we're all kind of migrating into this single cause to drive the oppressor out.
Yeah.
And that's something that really happens in real life. That's like the real superhero quality of it. So it's like that is 10 times more effective than like an all-knowing superhero with insane powers that can just like take out a evil bad guy who's just evil because we're supposed to believe he is in the movie because that's how they set him up.
Right.
But this is like, no, here's the structure of colonialism. Here's what it does to people. And here's how you go back and fight that. It has like the Malcolm and the Martin aspect of it. Of it's like, we have the guns that we need to get and we need to train and have everybody go towards this goal. But we also need our belief system and our rhetoric to get there as well, which is insane in all of this in a 3-hour movie, which is just crazy. Yeah, I think the lynching scene is like one of the most powerful ones. Just the blood symbolism and the song he was doing during that is just absolutely like insanely good. But also like the scene with Ram's father and that whole sequence was just absolutely incredible. The idea of martyring for a cause like that, and with every freedom fighter down, the descendants of that freedom fighter will also become freedom fighters. That is a very real thing when it comes to colonialism. We see that today consistently. It's just like a known thing on how these work through, ending of colonialism and apartheids throughout, history. It tells it so accurately and like it's so real, but at the same time, the action is so over the top that it makes it insanely fun to watch a British soldier get like, the arrow goes through the tree and it doesn't kill the guy, but then he just kicks the arrow through and it kills him. Like
that was the best.
It is so insanely fun to watch all of that go down. Like it is just insane how they combine all these different things together to kind of like, we have a real message here. We have a real driving force to this movie. It is absolutely like over the top action filled and that kind of thing. But like, there's a real message here that gets like across 99% better than a lot of other movies that try to have a message like this. So it's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, even adding to what you're saying about like the film not pulling punches, like they murdered children. Like in the scene with Ram's father, like they just murder his brother who's like an 8-year-old, which is like nuts. Like that doesn't happen here. And if it is, if it's done, it's like only in like super edge case scenarios.
Yeah. And it's off screen usually and it's implied. It's not,
Yeah. I mean, you see it and then you see his mom get murked too. And it's like it's like devastating. Like the levels of like, what we're supposed to be like, or what Ram's character is going through. It's like, and the fact that we see it is like perfect. Not that I used to be someone that was like, we need to show it. And then I've seen a lot of movies that challenge that. So I'm like, maybe we don't need to show it all the time. But I think for what we're doing here, like for showing the like evils of colonialism, like you kind of need to do something like this to like fully get through people's heads. Like, no, this is a bad thing. Like it's unequivocally, there's no room for interpretation here. Like, I don't think there's like any room for interpretation in most like movies depicting like evil organizations. Like there isn't really a sympathetic character, a Nazi character in Inglourious Bastards or something.
Right. Yeah.
But like it's like almost like cartoonishly evil.
Right.
Which I mean is fine. That's the point. If you just want to blow up Nazis in a movie for the fun of it, go for it. I would actually, I like that.
Absolutely.
The Indiana Jones movies are just that pretty much.
And that's why this is so good too, because it's like the same thing where it's like, but you have the substance with it as well, which is just crazy.
Yeah. It's weird. It rides this line where it is like, man, this is like real stuff that was going on. But then you also have a scene where Ram and Beam jump off the bridge on two opposite ends and meet and do an epic Carl
That's the only
Weathers.
scene I've seen from this movie before watching it. I'm like, I forgot
Oh,
this happens.
yeah. Yeah, it is kind of funny. Like every time they
Mhm.
do that, because there's like a couple scenes where like they do like hand gestures and then are able to like
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I know what that
perfectly.
means.
Yeah, especially Beam is like down at the end of the river and Rom's all the way up at the top of the bridge. And then he does like two hand symbols.
Hmm.
And then he's like, oh, yeah, okay, okay. Well, we'll meet. Obviously, we'll do this thing where I'll grab the rope and then I'll jump off the bridge. And then, of course, he grabs an Indian flag. But
Yes.
that's to protect me from smoke. That is
Correct.
like, okay, well, you got all of that just from like two little hand motions, which is impressive.
Hmm.
But I think the tone is like the best part of this movie. Like it really
Hmm.
keeps me like on the edge of my seat, like even like through like the sleepier moments, which I don't really think there are a lot. But like
Hmm.
the scenes where like Beam is like on his romance date, you're still like hooked because you love
Yeah.
this character. And the white lady apologist is nice too. She's like the only white person that doesn't treat Indians like cattle, which I
Hmm.
guess is nice to see, but also unrealistic given that she's the niece of the of the big bad evil British man.
Well, I mean, it shows. I think it makes it realistic because, like, there's always going to be a class traitor in that way. There's not many, like, overall, but it's like there's still going to be that one somewhat sympathetic person. Like, she still has a kidnapped child that like is in the next room over.
That's
But
true.
like, I think they do a very good job of portraying the British as like kind of aloof, but also like very polite in the way that they go about things. And then like with a snap, it's like brutal colonial violence
Yeah,
with no second thought whatsoever. So I think it's very accurate the way they kind of portray that because it is that kind of way where it's like, oh, we're a civilized people and we're polite and we don't stoop to that level and we're so like up and pretty in our palace. But then the moment we're out with them, it's like gloves off, immediate. And I think that's like a very accurate way to show it because you do get that very stark difference in there.
that's true. That's true. I guess I don't know. And I guess I should also say that I don't know a whole lot about Indian history.
I don't either. It's a blind spot.
I took an Indian history class, but that was like ancient Indian history, and that was
Mhm.
also like 4 years ago. So I don't really remember much, except that the professor of that class hated Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which I'm just convinced that he didn't get it because I don't think that I don't think, and I'm not saying that as like, oh, this like Indian dude didn't get it, this whatever, but like I don't think Spielberg had all of the like stereotypes in there because he thought that that's like what was really going on in India. Like
Mhm.
it's supposed to be like a parody of the serials that came before it and those
Mhm.
being racist.
Yeah.
So then just like amplifying that just shows how ridiculous they were. But he was like, it's very offensive. And I'm like, well, yes, that is the point.
Yes.
But that was the one thing that I remember.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like I'm basing it off of like British colonialism in Africa specifically because I
Oh,
think
sure.
the methods are probably pretty much the same. They're even more brutal in Africa from like stuff I remember, or just like the Israeli occupation currently because like they
Sure.
treat it almost the exact same way when it comes to that. I think like one of the most striking images of like Ram's father like having like his finger gone and all that stuff. It's like that is such striking imagery as like a martyr for the cause. Cause like last year I saw Yahya Sinwar get blown up by a drone because they couldn't even go kill him himself. He had one arm just like completely over and he like threw a stick at a drone and broke it as like his last line of defense. Like that kind of stuff is real and that happens. And every single time there's a martyr like that, there's a new freedom fighter born. It is a constant struggle for that kind of stuff. So it is like it hits incredibly hard given like today's circumstances because
Yeah.
a lot of this movie was like almost too real at parts where it's like that shooting of the brother and the mother and the making of a freedom fighter right in front of you. It's like that stuff is real and have it being like portrayed in that real of detail is just like I don't know how. I guess I want to know like what the general Indian populace kind of thinks of this movie and how it portrays these kind of things
Mm.
because obviously you have a history of freeing yourself from colonialism, but there is also this like weird sect of Indian kind of politics where they're like they're like weeaboos for Israel almost. They're the most pro-Israeli sector of people you could possibly find on the planet besides Americans. I don't know how
Interesting.
big that sector is in India, but there's definitely a sector of it.
Sure.
And then obviously the stuff with Kashmir and the conflicts between that and Pakistan. So I'm interested to hear how like the general Indian populace kind of feels about this kind of messaging in your movies and how common this kind of theme is for your movies. Because like obviously freeing yourself from a colonial oppressor is like one of the like most insane things you can do as a population because it's an insane struggle. You look at like Vietnam,
Yeah.
Zimbabwe, these kind of things. It's just interesting because I'm like, I don't know the political climate of India enough to be like,
Yeah.
was this a common thing to kind of portray stuff like this? Or is this kind of like some people in the right wing just absolutely hate this kind of messaging? Because here in America, this movie is like, I would say this is like far, far left from what the median kind of movie messaging looks like,
Sure.
and would be considered, you know, very revolutionary in that stat. So I'm curious.
Yeah, I don't know either, obviously, but I do
Mhm.
remember like seeing some stuff when this movie came out of like from people in India like praising it and
Mhm.
like the like political message, and like the obviously the end tribute. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like recognize most of those faces.
I recognize maybe one or two, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I do not know enough about Indian history to like completely get this.
that's what I was like. That was the moment I'm like, oh no,
Mhm.
like I'm not prepared to do a podcast on this because I don't know who most of these people are. But like I've heard specifically from like Indian people online saying that like
Mhm.
that scene and that like song and music video, I guess, really meant a lot to them as it was like
Mhm.
basically shouting out a bunch of like Indian revolutionaries and other kind of cultural leaders,
Mhm.
that led to their independence. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. I like that.
Mhm.
Like, that's what we should be celebrating, especially now, as you said previously.
Yeah,
So,
I think especially like just given things that have happened over here very recently, you seem like you can just go insane by like just how like things are moving currently. Like it feels more reactionary and inwardly fascist than it's probably ever felt in a long time. So it's
sure.
very like debilitating to just like live right now. So watching this was kind of like a damn, there's stuff where like it really does cut through, and
Yeah.
it's not just like this plastic garbage where we all just have to pretend we have this like shared psychosis of an America or whatever America means or any of
Sure.
this garbage. So like watching this over the week has just been like it's incredibly refreshing, and it's like man, we could be doing so much better over here and we're
Oh,
not.
yeah.
Like this is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this movie's fantastic.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah. I do like, we are talking about the politics of this movie a lot. You don't even really need to pay attention to that.
No, you don't even need to.
Like,
That's what I focus on, but you don't even need to.
right. Like, my dad probably doesn't care about that at all. Not
Mhm.
that, like, he's unsympathetic to these causes or whatever,
Right.
but, like, for him, it's just a fun action movie about,
Mhm.
like, fighting the bad guys. And if the bad guys just so happen to be evil colonialists, then so be it.
Right.
But honestly, like, I'm fine with that. Like, it should be, like, not every movie needs to be come and see or something like that.
Absolutely. Yep.
Like, you can get
And
across
it shouldn't
messages.
be.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can get across messages that are, like, maybe not quite as potent as something like that would be,
Mhm.
or like Grave of the Fireflies, whatever.
Right.
But, like, you should be able to be exposed to these types of messages through movies that aren't taking themselves too seriously.
Mhm.
And they allow you to kind of have fun, but also like take away a pretty serious message about
Yep.
all like real stuff. Like to me, this almost seems like the adult version of like a Pixar movie or something, where it's like they have
Mhm.
like the message, but you have like a fun little animated romp.
Right.
And it's like it's kind of like that because the action scenes are just like kind of fun to like they're just fun for fun's sake.
Hmm.
and they go all out in the visuals, and like the choreography is fantastic.
It's so good. You have to be so creative to think of all that stuff too. Like it's just
No,
pulled off so well.
I know. And it's like, and it gets like more and more brutal as like the movie goes on.
Hmm.
Like when Beam is about to get like hanged and then like Rom saves him and he's like he breaks out of his ropes and he has to like kill all the British people that their
Hmm.
guns jam. Like that is like so brutal. He's like breaking people's backs and necks. It's like gee like for
Yeah.
not that the rest of the movie hasn't been violent, but like especially in like the scene where Beam like storms the castle, it's like he like sets some animals loose, but like
Hmm.
nobody's getting like super hurt on screen really. Like there's like obviously it's him and Rom fighting, and some of those get like kind of brutal, but you know they're just gonna be fine two
Right.
seconds later because they have
Yeah.
like Wolverine healing factor.
Hmm.
But like as the movie goes, especially right at the end where they man, the the bow with the flaming arrows.
So
Oh
good.
geez, it's so awesome. It's so
So
sick.
good. Yeah, I think my last couple of things, like the best parts of this movie, one was the freaking piggyback jail escape thing. That was the most insane action sequence I've seen
It was so
in a long
unnecessary,
time.
but I love it.
It was so good. um, the blood of the British general going over that freaking British Empire
Yes.
thing was
Yeah.
just insane. I love that so much. And then the continued message of like, what does a bullet cost is
Yeah.
an incredible messaging point throughout the entire movie. Um, that is just like, that is real insanely good writing. Like, that is an action movie with insanity, but also like, here is this bullet motif that like other things have used, like Lord of War and stuff like that. But it's like that kind of bullet metaphor and like this piece of iron being worth more than a person's life and flipping that at
Yes.
the end is just so good. Like one of the only movies that can make me laugh, cry, whatever in like a
Yeah.
span of 15 minutes and then do it again. And I'm still completely floored about it. So
For real.
yeah, this thing's fantastic.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, what did you rate it? I'm curious.
I was too excited after I was done, so I gave it a 5. We'll see if it sticks.
I gave it a 5. I
But
love it.
I think it's deserved. I think
Yeah.
one of the best experiences with a movie I think I've ever had, just because I like messaging in my movie. I like something to be, real and straight to the kind of point of what their messaging get to. But I also like fun movies at the same time. And this combined like 17 different genres into one, and it
Yeah.
was a blast the entire time. So I feel like a 5 is justified for just how insane this is.
I think so too. Yeah. I think the first time I watched it, I rated it 4.5. And that was
Hmm.
just because, in general, I don't like to give things 5 off rip unless they make
Right.
me feel like super like confident about it.
Hmm.
So I'm like, well, maybe if I revisit it, I'll give it a 5. But then when I like went to rate it this time, I'm like, I was stupid. Why didn't I just give this a 5? It's so good.
Hmm.
It's like, I think right now it's my favorite Bollywood movie. It
Hmm.
has officially dethroned the cricket movie.
Okay.
Unfortunately, maybe we'll have to do the cricket movie.
Yeah, I'd love to do another one. Like this is like I had a blast with this kind of stuff. It's very refreshing comparative to like a lot of just standard Western movies that I've been
Yeah,
watching at least recently. So
yeah. I mean, I think that you'd get a lot about you'd get a lot in Lagan too, because
mhm,
like the whole crux of that is like basically there's like this Indian village and they're being oppressed by the British, and it's
mhm,
like they're demanding too much in tax, and so like please give us a buy. It hasn't rained in like a year or whatever, and they're
mhm,
like, well, we'll let you buy if you can beat us at one of our own games, cricket.
mhm.
And so
Yep.
then it's like most of the movie is just them trying to learn what the game is because they've never played it before.
Mhm.
And so at the end, when it's the final cricket battle, there's like some stakes and you see them grow and learn, and it's amazing.
I
Pretty
have a
cheating
soft
good.
spot for sports movies, so that'd be a good one.
It's my favorite sports movie,
Okay.
so maybe. Plus, it has the legendary Amir Khan in it,
Ooh.
who got a special thanks at the beginning of this movie. So I don't know what the connection is there, but for those Western people. I think Amir Khan is like not quite like the godfather of Bollywood movies, but is probably
Okay.
one of the biggest stars to come out of Bollywood. So, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not an expert, but
Yeah,
like,
I'm so coming in blind here, but I love what I'm seeing.
yeah. So, give us some recommendations for some other
Mhm.
Bollywood movies because I definitely want to see some more. We'll probably do Lagan in the future, not next time. I don't know what we're gonna do next time. It might be in
I
the
don't know.
document, but I don't remember.
I don't think we picked one, so
Okay,
we'll
well,
figure it out.
we'll figure it
You'd be
out.
surprised.
Hope you enjoyed. Go check out RRR if you have not. I don't think we spoiled anything too much besides the general themes. And even then, even the stuff that we did spoil, there's like 2 hours and
There's no way to
45
describe it.
minutes.
Yeah, you got to watch it yourself.
Yes. And it's not even a chore. It's a blast. So
Mhm.
buckle in, have a good time, and watch
You had to fit it in once.
I did. I debated calling it the entire podcast just to piss people off, but I
I think
decided
this
against it.
movie is great.
Bye.